A fully reopened economy is arriving way ahead of schedule. The sudden announcement by the Baker administration creates both excitement and concern. As India continues to grapple with the coronavirus, a local business leader here in Arlington steps up to provide a boost to those efforts. Memorial Day is right around the corner, and Arlington plans a special ceremony to honor service members who offered up their lives for our country. All that and more next up on ACMi News.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Hello, Arlington, and welcome to ACMi News. I'm James Milan.
And I'm Isabel Litterst. On Wednesday, Governor Baker announced that as of May 29th, all COVID-19 restrictions, including the mask mandate, will be lifted in Massachusetts. This is a major acceleration from his initial reopening plan, which set August 1st as a projected date for full reopening. This follows the most recent advisory issued by the CDC, which relaxed its recommendations for pandemic-related restrictions. Over 3.2 million Massachusetts residents are fully vaccinated, and 4 million people, which is 75% of the state's population, have received their first dose. The state is on track to reach its goal to vaccinate 4.1 million people by early June. Baker cites the success as evidence that the Commonwealth is ready to fully reopen on May 29th.
We're safer, smarter, and better equipped in this fight than at any time since it began. And thanks to all your work, we're willing to take the next step forward together. Effective May 29th, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts will lift all industry COVID restrictions and capacity limits.
The state's mask mandate will also be lifted on May 29th, and the state's advisory will echo the CDC's recommendations moving forward. Last week, the CDC issued a statement which reversed its recommendation that all people should wear masks indoors, now saying that fully vaccinated people don't need to wear masks in most indoor settings. They maintain that unvaccinated individuals should keep wearing masks. CDC experts attribute their new advisory to the high effectiveness of the vaccines in protecting against the spread of COVID-19. Baker reiterated that the Commonwealth will adopt the CDC's new guidelines and listed a short list of exceptions to the mask mandate reversal.
The Department of Public Health will also be issuing a new public health order that will mandate the use of face coverings by everyone, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, in a small number of specific places such as nursing homes, healthcare settings, public transportation, and in schools.
In addition to this list, Baker reminds residents that private businesses have the right to create their own mask policies. Moving forward, Massachusetts will continue to focus on increasing the vaccinated population and maintaining its high vaccination rates as it continues to transition back to normal.
We've gotten to this point because we followed the science, and the people of Massachusetts did the hard work and made the sacrifices. We are now prepared and protected, and we can move forward together.
The Baker-Polito administration will reiterate this plan and share any new updates at their weekly conference next week.
We also wanted to get an expert opinion on the local side about this dramatic shift in the time frame for getting back to normal. So we asked Arlington's Director of Health and Human Services, Christine Bongiorno, for her take on it.
Arlington has decided to move forward and just follow exactly what the state has put forward. And, although we can appreciate that there has been a lot of science and, a lot of thought has been put into the decisions that have been made by the CDC and then the state, we also, we want to tread lightly, right? We will continue to monitor our cases and shift if things change. We continue to receive cases daily. We continue to see older people being hospitalized, which is of concern. And it's really, our vaccination rates are promising. However, not everyone in our community is vaccinated. Not everyone in our community can be vaccinated. So I think we need to continue to just monitor that and adjust if necessary. I think that the state will continue to monitor and adjust. But I do think, the conversion of our mask order to an advisory really limits our ability to make sure that masks are worn. So that will essentially, for vaccinated individuals, mask requirements will go away on May 29th, which is great because I think it really motivates people to get vaccinated. And if the science is showing that vaccinated individuals are either not getting COVID, or if they are getting COVID, they're not spreading it and or getting sick, I think that's a benefit and a bonus for all of us that have chosen to be vaccinated. For those unvaccinated individuals that will be asked to wear masks, I just urge them to continue doing that because if we don't continue to be vigilant, we could see ourselves back in a lockdown and or another mask order later on as time goes on. We always look at what's going on around the world. We're seeing a lot what's happening in India, but the vaccination rates are low there. We look to more to countries that have higher vaccination rates. They're still wearing masks in those countries, and it's an important difference. And so it'll just be interesting to see how this plays out. I think from a public health perspective, I do appreciate the science being used to make decisions, but continuing to watch the numbers and watch the data, and urging people to remain vigilant. And if they're in a crowded mall or a crowded area, just try to be aware, particularly an unvaccinated individual, making sure they're wearing masks. That is crucial to keeping this virus from coming back and mutating and becoming a bigger concern down the road.
In disturbing news, the Arlington Police Department confirms the portable toilet near Audison Middle School was tagged with anti-Semitic graffiti. The incident was reported on May 18th and is the third such occurrence in Arlington in recent months. The first incident that took place in April was on Summer Street, and the second case of anti-Semitic tagging occurred on Buzzell Memorial Field a couple of weeks later. It is not clear if the three incidents are connected, but the police department is working with the Arlington Human Rights Commission to continue to investigate these occurrences.
Also under active investigation is a felony breaking and entering that occurred at the Verizon store on Mass Ave on the evening of May 15th. According to the Arlington Police Department, a rock was apparently used to break a storefront window through which the perpetrator entered. 2 display items, one of which was a tablet, were reported missing. The security footage is unreviewable, so there are no further details available at this time. One thing to note, Arlington cleans up after such incidents quickly. As ACMi News promptly followed up on these stories, we discovered that the graffiti has been removed at the Audison and the window repaired at Verizon already. And now we'll take a short break.
When we return, we'll tell you about a couple of Arlingtonians who are having an impact in our community and way beyond.
Located at the intersection of Mystic Street and Massachusetts Avenue, the Cyrus Dallin Art Museum has a terrific collection inside. And outside, there is history, sculpture, and architecture in the surrounding Arlington Historic District, and you can see it through a walking tour. Through this place rode Paul Revere. On Massachusetts Ave, British soldiers marched to battle and fought their way home. Over the years, beautiful buildings and sculptures were added as the town grew. Among the highlighted works of the tour will be the Menotomy Hunter and Uncle Sam, as well as the stories of the artists who created them. The Dallin Museum is offering walking tours leaving the museum at 6 o'clock on select Thursday evenings through September. The guided walk covers a half mile and lasts an hour. Reservations can be made through a link on the museum website, www.dallin.org, or through Eventbrite. Join us for the walk and then have a delicious dinner in one of Arlington's great restaurants.
Welcome back to Studio A. I'm Isabel Litterst.
And I'm James Milan. India is facing a public health crisis like no other country in the world. Daily case counts have recently hit a stunning 283,000, and medical supplies are not readily available to grapple with the crisis.
Here in Arlington, one man is doing what he can to support India's fight against COVID-19, and he's encouraging others to get involved.
ACMi News correspondent In-Young Kim has this profile.
India was hit harshly by a second wave of COVID-19. They even ran out of wood for the funeral pyres. Faced with this nightmare situation, one local executive is using his influence to support those in his home country. ACMi met with Sushil Tuli, founder and CEO of Leader Bank, headquartered here in Arlington. He has been leading an effort to work with the community and local businesses to raise relief funds to deliver medical supplies to India, including masks and oxygen concentrators.
The call came from Tata Memorial Centers about 3-4 weeks ago. And immediately the Indian community got together and started raising funds. And on May 8th, Federal Express sent a big plane with 3,000 portable oxygen concentrators and about 300,000 N95 masks.
Tata Memorial Center works with many hospitals in India. 60 patients can be saved by a single oxygen concentrator, so more than 180,000 Indians' lives may have been saved by the equipment on that FedEx plane. Tully also made it clear that there was no time to spare in terms of taking action.
We knew the need that we needed to. This is not something we can take our time and make a decision. It was instantly that, okay, we're going to do it. Leader Bank has a foundation, so through our foundation, we gave money, other people gave money, and within a matter of couple of days, the money was raised enough to send 3,400 portable oxygen concentrators to India.
Mr. Truly can see how the support he's helping provide has saved many lives.
They've been sharing the pictures and videos with us. So the plane left on May 8th from USA, got there within 24 hours. Immediately, there were forklifts to take the stuff off. There were vans to take those oxygen concentrators to various hospitals. And they were distributed to all states, like most of the states in India, based upon where the maximum need is. And they have already been distributed and they've been being used and saving lives of patients there.
Mr. Tully wants to remind the people that any contribution is helpful, and he has a message for the community.
It doesn't matter what part of the world they are in, whether they are in India, in USA, or some other countries. And help it. Every little bit help is good. And if we can help out any organization, any good cause, please reach out to me directly. I will love to help out there. And it just is our community. And one thing I believe in, when the businesses help communities flourish. And we are here to help.
If you want to make a contribution, you can help to fight against India's coronavirus outbreak by contributing to Community Partners International. Mr. Tully's dedicated efforts have saved many lives on the other side of the globe. Since the rate of COVID infection is dropping in the US, now may be the time for us to follow his example and look to help across the borders. For ACMi News, I'm In-Young Kim.
And now, a follow-up to a different profile we presented last summer. Sarah Kamia is an Arlington native who took on an unusual project during the lockdown, making the offerings at the little free libraries that have popped up on streets all over town in recent years more diverse. Here's a little snippet of the conversation we had with Sarah last year about little free diverse libraries.
Basically, I came home at the start of April because of COVID and quarantining, and I am a school counselor in New York City, and it was getting a lot to be in the city, and there's something about being home and having the space. So needless to say, I came home and I just found myself going on walks through the neighborhood before my day would start or when my day finished, and I would pass a decent amount of little free libraries in the neighborhood. And for those who don't know, little free libraries are these little pop-up wooden bookshelves, if you may, and people can take a book or leave a book, and it's completely free, and there's many across Arlington. And so I found myself just checking out the books, seeing what books were there, and I started to notice that there was just the same couple books in these libraries, and they kind of became a place for people to just leave books that they don't want anymore, or books that just didn't really have what I was looking for when I would get excited to see or come across a library. And I thought in the wake of George Floyd's death, and the Black Lives Matter movement really taking off, and the protests and the racial injustice going on, I thought this would be a really great way to educate people about Black culture, African American history, and fill these libraries with books that speak to these issues, but also highlight and celebrate Black authors and Black children and people of color. And I just kind of looked at the library and I thought, I have some books that I can put in here, and maybe someone will take a book and learn a little bit about a different culture. And I didn't expect that, the 5 books I thought I was going to be putting into these libraries turning into over 700.
Sarah's work was recently recognized by Little Free Library, the organization created by the founder of the movement 12 years ago. She was one of only 6 recipients of the organization's 2021 Award for Outstanding Achievement, given, as they say, to, quote, extraordinary individuals who embody the mission to build community, inspire readers, and expand book access for all. We caught up with this particular extraordinary individual to get her reaction to the news.
I just feel really honored. I don't know now what my life was like before Little Free Library came into it. I mean, I knew how much I loved them, but now I, feel such a connection to them. And I always say, like, without Little Free Library, there would be no Little Free Diverse Libraries. And so it really is just so special to receive this award, and almost a year from when I started this project too. So it just feels really full circle. And it definitely is like the motivation to keep going and knowing that the work that I'm doing is really touching so many people. One of the exciting things that I did, and I think this had to do with me coming back into the school building, was realizing the need for schools to have these Little Free Diverse Libraries. And so I was able to donate 10 Little Free Libraries to schools in Boston and in New York City. And now they have their own standing there. And that's kind of a big thing I see moving forward, is getting more schools these libraries, because I think they send a message to the community, send a message to the families, the students, everyone involved. This is where we stand. This is what we believe in. And we want your voices heard and amplified and empowered when you go to take a book.
As of May 19th, Arlington began a road rehabilitation construction project, which aims to improve road and sidewalk conditions around town. 8 streets are currently being worked on, primarily around the Bates Road area. Some residents may be temporarily restricted from parking in their driveway, and if so, will be able to park overnight on nearby side streets without being ticketed. The roads affected include Adams Street, Allen Street, Andrew Street, Bates Road, Raleigh Street, and a section of Oakland Street. The project is expected to be completed by the end of June.
Arlington is preparing to host its annual Memorial Day ceremony on May 31st. Because plans were based on earlier guidance from the CDC, the ceremony will once again be a virtual one. However, make some time to tune in to this special ceremony dedicated to remembering those who lost their lives while serving our country. ACMi's Katie Chang spoke with Arlington's Director of Veteran Services, Jeff Chunglo, to preview the ceremony.
Last year, due to restrictions on public gatherings, Arlington's Memorial Day ceremony was held virtually, aired live from Town Hall, and closed to the public. This year, Arlington will again celebrate virtually with a pre-recorded ceremony, despite the recent reopening statement for Massachusetts. Director of Veteran Services Jeff Chunglo has received many questions as to why there will not be a public ceremony.
And it was just because of timing with CDC guidelines and trying to coordinate and plan for a ceremony that we originally intended to tape in advance and broadcast, even though now all the restrictions have been lifted and as of the 29th people can gather. But that won't be the case for our ceremony this year.
Thankfully, restrictions did not impact volunteers who helped place flags on veteran graves.
We completed everything in record time, which was amazing. A lot of younger children and young adults were there, which I was very pleased to see, as well as the older crowd, older veterans coming out to pay tribute to their fellow veterans.
I think it's important to remember and honor people who served, in particular, of course, people who died during their service, or also in many cases as a consequence of their service later on.
I think that we can't forget how much sacrifice there was, especially back in World War II, World War I, and Vietnam.
I have to do a bunch of community service hours for the high school, and I mean, I might as well do it somewhere where, you know, people need it, and it's for veterans who served our country.
Remembering the people that risked their lives for us.
That it's more than just a cookout. I'm sure everyone says that. And I get it. We all forget. We're all just looking forward to a 3-day weekend.
More than just a day off work, volunteers in Jeff Chungalo encouraged residents to tune in to watch the ceremony.
I understand it's a 3-day weekend and people look forward to cookouts and the unofficial start to summer. And I understand that because I too look forward to that. But please reflect on the day and the true meaning of what Memorial Day means to a lot of Americans.
Watch the Memorial Day ceremony on Monday, May 31st at 10 a.m. on ACMi's public channel or at acmi.tv/publive. The video will also be aired and available on ACMi's YouTube and Facebook page.
In addition to this year's Memorial Day ceremony, the Department of Veteran Services is launching a series of extended interviews with some of Arlington's veterans. Look for these soon on ACMi's public channel.
There is no Ponderscope this week, but it will be back next week.
And before we sign off for this newscast, I just wanted to point out something about my co-anchor here. Isabel has been with us for more than a year.
That's right.
And yet this is, because of the weird time we've been living through, this is the first time that you and I have been in the flesh, in person, together in all that time.
It is so strange, especially because this is my last time anchoring. So I was so happy that James said that he could do this with me today. It's definitely a special newscast for me.
And we want to congratulate Isabel because, like the others who have left our news team over these last months, she is leaving for the best of reasons. She will be taking on a job as a broadcast news reporter down in Savannah. Tell us a little bit about that, Isabel.
Yeah, it's going to be totally different, but I did try to pick a place with a similarly welcoming and kind and productive news environment where I felt like I could learn the same way I do here. So I would recommend ACMi to anybody who wants to start a career in multimedia journalism or anything around that, because it's truly prepared me for a job.
And we do want to congratulate Isabel for that, and we look forward to seeing her continue to progress from Savannah. Who knows where that will take her next, but we will be charting her progress and taking great pride in it. So that wraps up today's newscast for ACMi, and on behalf of the crew and cast here, I'm James Milan.
And I'm Isabel Litterst.
We'll see you next time.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.